Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you a very quick and easy way to make a very realistic chipped paint on clapboard siding. Now, I'm going to demonstrate the technique on some background structures as we begin to fill in the background here on the layout. All right, we have a lot to do, so let's get to it. Okay, as you can see, we have some background structures that need to be painted, windows, rooftops, and completely detailed. Especially this large one right here on the corner. But today, we're going to focus on the wood structures. Now, I've been working on this one up on the hill, this green structure back here. Let's take this over to the workbench and take a little closer look at it. Okay, so here is the actual model. And right away, I'm sure you notice how tall it is. This was the original kit. Now, I simply cut straight across right there. Now, I'll save the whole lower section for another build. Then what I did is I put a piece below that cut, and the cut is hidden by the sign. Now originally that sign was supposed to be glued right there, but the top edge or down maybe one clapboard is where the cut line is, and then I put a full sheet of clapboard down here. Now hopefully you can see how light this is over here at the workbench. I first started with a very light green. I'll go over the technique on how I did the clapboard when we get into the part of the video where I show you how to do chipped paint. But for now, I just did a light green. I sprayed a darker green on the windows and the trim. Sponged, let's see, it is called iced coffee. Sponged that over the windows and the trim. And then after it was done, I actually did quite a bit of dry brushing with light gray. I wanted this to be really light so that it looks further back. When you see a video or a photograph, things in the background that are furthest away from you are lighter than all of the objects that are in the foreground. Objects in the foreground are full color, full saturation, and things that are further back are lighter. So to give this a little more depth on the layout, I really wanted the entire model to be really light. Hopefully that's showing up with just how light it is. And you can see there's buildings that are in front that cover up the whole bottom of this. And then we'll do fall trees around this. One more thing before we move on that I wanted to mention about this is that some of the vents our N scale. N-scale vents and smokestacks give the illusion that it's further back than what it is. All right, let's move on to the technique. Okay, I'm going to show you probably 3 or 4 different examples with different colors. But the first color is prairie grass. Any light green spray paint will work. Preferably a flat color, but it could be a satin. Satin will work. All right, let's go ahead and spray this. And what we're going to do is completely spray it. And then right away, we're going to take a hair dryer and start to dry it. High heat. Now you'll notice with that high heat, it starts to bubble. And the paint starts to crack. Now, same direction as clapboard. We want to get rid of all those bubbles. Now, take a brand new blade. And you could use an X-Acto knife. Now, we want to scrape the edge of the boards. And then you can actually pick at each board. You can do individuals. This part does take a while, but it's worth it for the next part where we're going to put stain over this. And on some of the boards, you want to just almost make a line. And that makes it look like there's individual boards. Okay, now we want to lift some of the boards. So carefully slide your blade under it. Let me zoom in for you. And you can see where it breaks. So then you can just cut the end off that board. Where is it? Right there. Okay, so I will do that again for you. Now at this point too, if you would like to add nail holes using a Pounce wheel, you can. Maybe for the demonstration I will. This is a background building, so we don't really need to, but for the demonstration I will. Okay, so I better mark. If you're wondering why these long wooden pieces of wood are on there, it's because this sits on the layout and all the bottom here is covered up by structures in front of it, and then eventually there'll be trees around it too, so you'll never see the bottom. Just to make it easy, I'm going to go every ½ inch. I'm putting a piece of wood under it so I don't break it. Now it's a background building, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You do want them straight. So a quick recap. We scraped the edge of all the boards, then went in and scraped some individual boards, really nicked it up. Then we lifted some boards, then added nail holes. Now we're going to stain this. Now for the large background structure that we just talked about, that I showed you, that's finished, I went over the wall with jungle moss, and it's a green stain just because I wanted it to, it's a little bit more of a bluish green, and I wanted it to match the windows a little bit more. But for today, I might just try Ocean Depths. Now, my go-to stain is murky brown, and I'm running really low on it, and I use that on so many structures, and I want my structures to look different. So let's go ahead and use Ocean Depths. And you can see already that it's going into the nail holes and it's staining the raw wood. So you can see already the effect that it has. Okay, let's set this aside and let's do one that's white. Okay, so I sprayed it white. Now this, I just lightly glued it to a piece of wood. Okay, you know what? Just to experiment, I'm going to spray another coat of white over this. Okay, once again, you can see, hopefully you can see all the bubbles. We're going over it with the brush to break open those bubbles, and it creates little pits and cracks. Okay, now we're going to take our blade so by going over it twice with the white spray paint, it made the paint thicker. So now when you chip it off, you can really see the paint. You can see that raw wood underneath it. You could even do 3 coats if you really wanted to look more chipped. Now, some people might be asking, why don't you stain the wood first? Well, when you want the raw wood, you want to scrape it so that raw wood shows through, and then when you stain it, it just hits the raw wood. Now, it'd be pointless to stain it first because you would just be scraping it down to the raw wood again. Now you can spend as much time as you want doing this part. You could go in with, you could do each individual board if you wanted to. It's great to experiment with background buildings because they don't really show, they're not the main focus. You can try different techniques. You can lift some and then sort of cut the bottom portion off of the board. You can, let's see, make a straight cut in one of the boards. And then lift that board. Okay, now I'll go ahead and do the lower part, and then we'll go back and add nail holes. Okay, on the lower part, I'm really scraping it. You can even take your wire brush. Okay, now let's do our nail holes. And again, we'll do every 1/2 inch. Okay, I won't bore you. I will go ahead and put these on quick, and then we'll come back and stain the wall. Okay, so I can't decide if I should use murky brown or dark rust. And I'm actually going to try it a little bit down at the bottom. I'm going to use murky brown. Now remember, I went heavier at the bottom. I really scraped it. Okay, let's set this aside and we'll try another color. Okay, this one is blue, and I really took my time and did a lot of chipping. Okay, this one we're using the dark rust. Okay, so for the tan, I used this, and it is flat khaki. For the white, I used this, and it's a satin. Satin leaves a little bit of a sheen. It's a little bit shiny, not too bad. Flat colors definitely work better. And for the blue, vintage teal, and it's satin. Now I'll show you with the teal. Let's do some dry brushing. We're going to use light gray. Actually, for this one, we might use light blue. You want a really soft brush. You'll notice as most of the paint leaves my brush, then I can start to scrub. But at first, you just want to go one direction. You just want to go down. And then as there's less and less paint in your brush, then you can start to scrub. Okay, now for this one, we'll switch to the light gray. and I go lighter at the top than the bottom. It gives the illusion that it's actually taller than what it is, and it lightens it so that it looks like it's further away. Okay, and we'll do some of the light gray on here too. Then of course we have to put windows in all of these. Now this one has a little bit of a shine to it. I don't really care for it. I don't know if I'll use this paint again. It probably would work better almost if you used a white primer, maybe. And then when you put your stain over it, it'll dull it down. It's not horrible. I'll definitely use it, but I'll see what it looks like when I place it on the layout. If it reflects too much light, I may not use it. Or maybe repaint it. I feel like I should actually go a little bit lighter, especially with these two. Because I know once there's more light over here on my workbench than there is on the layout. So I'm definitely going to lighten these up a little bit. And then we'll take these over to the layout. But real quick, like this one, I'll probably do white trim and white windows. I may do white windows or possibly a dark brown. With this one, again, you could go with white windows. You could go with a dark green. And with this, you could go with green windows and green trim, brown windows, or even keep it all white. Now in the computer, I'll probably put, I'll make signs. So I'll put like a black strip with white lettering, or we'll cover up some of the windows and put a billboard on the front. But definitely, like here, I can see the seam where I joined the two walls. And so I'll probably put a black strip and then put white lettering in there. And then weather it and fade it. And then you can go in with your pastels too. I'm just using some dark brown, a little bit of black. Now once I get the windows put in and some corner trim, I will actually make a photocopy. I'll just lay this on my copier, make a photocopy of it, then with that photocopy, I can take like a row with two windows and make the sides. And I can put a row with just one window on the side, or even just without the window, just the wood right here, a thin strip, so that it's a triangle, so that it's not sitting flat against the wall, that it's just at a slight angle. So I can do that with all of these. I'll just get my windows glued in place, and then again flip it over, lay it on my copier, make a photocopy, print it out, and then glue that on the side. And you'll never know. No one will ever know. The colors will all match. It'll have the windows. If you want to make it three-dimensional, you could maybe glue little window sills, or actually cut windows out and put in plastic windows and paint them. But I'll probably just, like I said, make a photocopy of it, print it out and put it on the side, because it really won't show that much, because we'll have trees in between the buildings, and it'll cover most of the side. So let's put these back on the layout and see what it looks like. Now this is just a different technique because I don't want all of my buildings to look the same. And there's so much more that you can do with this technique. Before you spray paint, you could use a rubber cement and a sponge and sponge that rubber cement on and then spray paint it and then rub off the rubber cement, rather than maybe just scraping it. There's just so many different combinations of things that you can do with this technique. So just experiment and have fun with it. Okay, there they are in place. Now notice the dark trim on this structure here and the dark trim. It's not super dark, but you definitely see where the top is. So we'll do the same on there. Dark, and we'll put dark across there. All of these will get defined with a dark top, maybe some dark windows. You'll see here, those are the black strips I was talking about with white lettering. We'll get some of those on there. I feel like I need maybe 2 thin ones or 1 long building right there. But it definitely needs something right there. And then I'm considering some paper buildings that I just attach to the wall. Just in between. Just some really thin skyscrapers. And I'll really lighten them in the computer so they look like they're really far in the distance. And, all of these buildings need little water towers and antennas and vents and lots of details. So to wrap things up, I want to tell you some important tips about today's project. Experiment. Background structures are great to test new techniques on, but definitely use some scrap wood first to try this technique before you actually do it on a model. All of the wood walls that I used today are from Foss scale models, and you can find them on their scratch building page. And then all of these get windows, and all of the windows will be purchased from TichyTrainGroup.com. All right, we still have a lot to do on those structures. We need to add signs, detail parts, vents, smokestacks. They'll get roofs put on them eventually. So there's still a lot to do, and we'll definitely get to those in another episode. All right, thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon members. You guys are incredible. I appreciate you guys so much. And while I've been working on background buildings, specifically the first one that I showed you in the video, I'd been posting pictures on my Patreon page. So all of the members got to see behind the scene photos of me working on that. So if you'd like to become a Patreon member, visit patreon.com/Jason Jensen Trains. All right, well, until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.